Hi everyone, welcome to Flow and Restore Yoga. That's Vinyasa Flow and Yin and Restorative. So grab all the props that you might need for your practice, like 2 blocks, a strap, a blanket, a pillow, and anything else. And we'll begin in a comfortable seat. Find a way to position your body so that you can feel grounded, connected to the surface below, evenly uplifted. Spine is tall without rigidity and at ease, maybe sitting up on a prop like a blanket. So I'd like to go over today Yoga Sutra from book 2, the very first sutra. It's yoga in action, which is the practice called Kriya Yoga. And in Sanskrit, the sutra says Tapa Svadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So you might hear 3 words that are actually in the first and the second limb of yoga, the niyamas. So tapas is self-discipline and self-responsibility. It's the commitment to stay in the pause between a feeling and a reaction. It's the ongoing choice to stick with hard practices that you know support your goals. Tapas is the commitment to stay in the fight for social change. It's the choice to renounce a habit that's killing you. Tapas is the heat that builds up inside us as we put forth effort toward increasing our capacity to stay with the discomfort of transformative change. Now, the second part of Kriya Yoga, or yoga in action, is Svadhyaya. And it's the ability to see the truth of oneself. It's honest self-awareness. And the practice of Svadhyaya, of moving toward oneself, the core self, that is, not just the personality or the ego, is the practice of examining and cutting through ego, attachments, aversions, and fears. The practice of Svadhyaya, of studying one's own self, is the practice of surfacing negative conditioning in order to be free of it. It's the practice of getting honest about bad habits so that they can be transformed. And it's also the practice of studying sacred scriptures, those that evoke your recognition of your true self. And now the third part of Kriya Yoga is Ishvara Pranidhana. And it's our sense of dedication. It's the larger vision of being that we are committed to. The teaching of Ishvara Pranidhana asks us to step away from our small self, to step away from our ego and personality with its likes, dislikes, attachments, and fears. If we can trustfully surrender to something higher than ourselves, if we can dedicate our lives to something bigger than the limited vision of our ego self, we might just discover the truth of our so-called highest self. Summer Cushman writes a lot about the Yoga Sutras, and I love the way she explains it. She says the transformative power of Kriya Yoga lies in the balance of these 3 practices. Discipline without self-awareness can be harmful. Effort without a commitment to a larger purpose is a road to burnout. Self-reflection without action is nothing more than navel gazing. Self-reflection without a connection to something beyond the ego creates self-centeredness. And devotion without a sense of self-responsibility and a clear vision of the real situation of our daily lives is spiritual bypassing. So how do we find that harmony between these 3 very important parts that make up living the practice of yoga, or yoga in action, Kriya Yoga? Let's begin with our physical body. How do we bring that sense of devotion of our efforts and not cling to the outcome, but put in due loving effort for whatever your intention is today? So can you dig deep? And what's the bigger picture of your showing up to your practice today? Is there something beyond your individual self, my individual self, that you would dedicate this practice to? Letting your breath deepen Allow some long grounding exhales and deeply energizing inhales. And as we move through the physical practice, how can you integrate self-awareness? Knowing our habits, knowing what we tend to do, shrink away from, have aversions to. Can we bring that mindfulness into the physical context of yoga? And as we come together here, let's join our voices, empowering ourselves, each other, and to those that we dedicate this practice to. Let's chant 3 ohms. Allow another deep breath in. Setting a hand on your chest and a hand on your lower belly. Allow a deep inhale to pass through both palms. Fill up your entire torso, even the back side of it. And as you close the lips, softly constrict the back of your throat and ease the breath out through the nose with a gentle whispering sound. Continue to balance your breath just like this, practicing Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing technique. Let it be a source of being present, aware of what's here now. So as you continue with that breath work, let's come to sit with your left leg extended forward, your right foot on the ground just in front of your right hip, taking hold of your right shin with both hands. Plug your 2 sitting bones down, flex your left toes back towards the shin, and roll the fronts of your shoulders back and down, lifting from the base of your spine up each vertebra through the crown. Allow a deep breath in. Then backstroke your right hand to the floor behind your pelvis and exhale. Let the belly hollow as you begin to rotate your rib cage to the right. Again, press into the surface below. Inhale up through the center of your spine, in your mind's eye. Soften your shoulders down. Exhale, soften the belly too, and continue to rotate your rib cage. And just like that, allow for 3 more full conscious breaths here in our first spinal twist of several. The end of this exhalation, unwind your spine and extend your right leg forward, curl the toes back, step your left foot on the ground just in front of your hip. Sit up tall as you hold your left shin with both hands, shoulders back and down. Deep breath in. Exhale, backstroke your left hand to the ground behind your pelvis, soften the belly inward, and rotate your chest to the left. Press down into the surface below. Inhale, visualize the breath lifting up through each vertebra. Exhale, soften the belly, keep twisting. Just like that for 3 more deep breaths. And then as you unwind, start to make your way to the top of your mat, standing in a forward fold with your feet at least hips width apart and parallel to each other. Bend your knees there and clasp your hands behind your back, or hold a strap between your hands. As you Draw the belly inward towards your spine. Shift your weight forward and inhale, stretch the crown of your head towards the front wall, rolling your shoulders back. As if pulling your hands apart, but keeping them together, exhale, fold, and stretch the shoulders upward as you drop the head downward. A few more breaths here. You might softly shake your head, nod your head, just relaxing the neck a little further. You might even gently sway your spine and loosen up the knees, bending them a little bit more to offer release in the spine. Perhaps switch the cross of your thumb and index finger on top. And then drop your arms, bend your knees a bit more, and relax the neck as you breathe in. Slowly roll your spine upright as if stacking one vertebra at a time, lifting your head last. Then circle your arms overhead on an inhalation. Interlace the fingers there and flip your palms inside out. Exhale, side bend to your left, rooting your right foot deeper into the earth. Inhale, rise up to center. Shoulders relaxed. Exhale, side bend to the other side. Inhale up to center. Open the arms. Exhale, bow forward. Sun salutation C. Inhale, step your left knee back, looking up, kneeling lunge. Holding your breath, walk into plank pose. Then exhale, lower your knees, glide forward with a flat back, and bend your elbows into chaturanga. Come all the way to the ground. Root down the tops of your feet. Inhale, roll the shoulders behind you in cobra. Tuck your toes and lift your hips back to downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend that knee and rotate the thigh open at the hip. This is a variation. Staying here, inhale, tack your right outer hip further back. As you exhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb and lower your back knee. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step the right foot forward and bow. This time, stretch the arms forward as you inhale, rise to stand, then coil your chest up into a light back bend. Exhale, join your palms at your heart center. Let's try that one more time on the second side. Inhale, circle the arms apart. Exhale, bow forward. Land the hands. Inhale, step the right knee back, look up. Holding your breath, step into plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, keep a flat back. Glide forward and lower through Chaturanga Dandasana to the ground. Press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, cobra, coiling the chest up. Exhale, lift your hips back to downward dog. Inhale, sweep your right leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee, rotate the thigh open at the hip. Stay here. Inhale, tack the left outer hip back. Exhale, lightly step your right foot forward beside your right thumb and lower your back knee. Inhale, look up in your kneeling lunge. Exhale, step forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rise to stand in a gentle back bend from right underneath the shoulder blades, tilting the chest up. Exhale, Padasana, hands to meet at your heart. Let's move into Sun Salutation A with a variation. Inhale, circle your arms, look up, watch your palms meet. Exhale, bow forward. Press into the ground or on blocks, and inhale, raise your heart forward, stretching your spine. Walk into your plank pose and exhale, glide forward, lowering through Chaturanga into Cobra or Upward Facing Dog, where you breathe in. Exhale, Downward Facing Dog. Bring your feet together here, Then inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Again, exhale, bend the knee, rotate the thigh open at the hip. Staying here, inhale, tack your left hip back. Exhale, round forward, bending the right knee towards your nose. Come into plank, then lightly step the foot right between your hands for warrior two. Spin the back heel down. Heel to arch, inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise up. Stay bent in the right knee, exhale, side bend towards the back of the room, peaceful warrior. Inhale, back to warrior two, straighten your right leg. Exhale, reach the right hand forward as you sweep the hips back, triangle pose. Stay in triangle and inhale, sweep your left arm overhead towards the front of the room, extended triangle. Exhale, lower into plank. Continue down into your vinyasa. Maybe lifting your right leg as you come down. Inhale, lifting your heart. Exhale, lifting your hips. Bring your feet together. Side two. Inhale, sweep your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee. Turn out your left thigh. Stay here. Inhale, tack your right outer hip back. Exhale, round forward, bending left knee towards your nose. Step the left foot right between your hands and spin your right heel down, heel to arch. Inhale, windmill your arms into warrior two. Keep your front knee bent. Exhale, side bend towards the back of the room, peaceful warrior. Inhale, rise again to warrior two and straighten your front leg. Sweep the hips back. Exhale, lower your left hand forward and to the left side of your left shin, triangle pose. Stay in triangle. Inhale, sweep your right arm overhead, extended triangle. Exhale, lower through your vinyasa, maybe lifting your left leg as you come down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, draw your hips back. Downward dog. Allow for 3 slow, spacious breaths. We're really practicing a variety of postures in this sequence. So let's take another version of Sun Salutation A. Bend your knees, look past your hands. Empty your breath, then either walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle your arms, rise up, palms touch. Exhale to your heart center. Round two, a different variation. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Walk to plank to lower or lightly float into chaturanga. Continue through your vinyasa. This time, keep the feet hips width apart. Then inhale, raise your right leg behind you, squaring your hips to face the ground. Keep your 2 shoulders leveled and exhale, cross your right knee to touch your left outer upper arm in plank. Then step your right foot lightly beside your right thumb. Lower the back knee. Inhale, raise the right arm, coming into a twist. Exhale, backstroke the right arm, lower the right hand outside your right foot and tuck the back toes. Inhale, rise up to crescent pose. Keep your 2 hips facing forward. Exhale, keep the spine upright and twist to your right, opening your arms wide apart like a T. Inhale, raise your arms again, back to crescent lunge. This time, turn to your left and exhale, align right heel to arch of left foot, warrior two. Let's continue like this last version here. Inhale, peaceful warrior, side bend towards the back of the room. Exhale, warrior two, straighten the right leg. Inhale, triangle pose, sweep the hips back, lower the right hand to the right side of your right shin. Exhale, sweep the left arm overhead, extended triangle pose. Inhale, step back to plank. Choose your vinyasa from here. Keep going. Then we meet again in downward facing dog. Slow breath in, stretch your left leg back. Exhale, cross your left knee to touch your right outer upper arm. Step your left foot beside your left thumb and lower your back knee. Inhale, raise your left arm up high, twisting to your left. Exhale, backstroke your left arm, land the left hand to the left of your left foot. Tuck the back toes. Inhale, rise up to crescent lunge. Your left side, exhale, open arm twist. Keep the spine upright. Inhale, back to center, crescent lunge. To your right side, warrior two, aligned heel to arch. Inhale, side bend towards the back of the room, peaceful warrior. Exhale, return to warrior two and straighten your left leg. Inhale, reach your left hand forward and down to triangle pose. Exhale, sweep your right arm overhead to extended triangle pose. Inhale, lower to plank pose, and on your own, take your vinyasa of choice. Three breaths. Let your body be still as you sense it. Any sensations here? Bend your knees. Look past your hands. Empty your breath. Then walk or float to the top. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle your arms to rise up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Last flow is our traditional Surya Namaskar B, mostly traditional. Inhale, bend your knees, bring them together, feet together, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward, flat back. Walk to plank or float to chaturanga. Take it to your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg back. This is the non-traditional part. Then exhale, step the foot beside the right thumb, spin the back heel down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Slow, steady breath. One more, side two. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale the foot beside your left thumb, spin your right heel down. Inhale, rise to warrior one. Exhale, take your last vinyasa. Downward dog, 3 slow breaths. Notice what's here now in mind or body. After your third exhalation is done, walk or lightly jump to the top. Bring your feet together. Inhale, raise your heart forward. Exhale, fold. Knees together. Inhale, sit low in chair pose. And exhale, rise up, Padasana. Set your feet apart here, hips distant or wider and parallel. Loosely bend your knees. And before we transition to our yin portion, I'm just gonna do what I like to call energetic rinsing, like an energetic cleanse. Imagine that you're standing on a river, on the ground as the river is flowing. And as you breathe in, we're gonna scoop the water from below and lift it up overhead. So you're showering, cleansing, cooling, fresh water. And then as you exhale, pouring it over yourself, you'll bow forward and take a big exhale through the mouth. Inhale, scoop, rise up. Exhale, 3 more on your own. Any sound, can even shake it out as you come down. And then when you're ready, come on down to child's pose. Set your block under your head if you prefer, or forehead to the ground. Bring the inner edges of your feet together to touch. And rest your arms wherever it's comfortable for you to tune in right now, to draw your attention inward in the practice of pratyahara.
I wanna be free, so free, like a feather blowing through the breeze, like a bird in a tree.
How has tapas played a role in your practice of asana today? That fire of will to do what might even be challenging, to be consistent, to show up. And how about Ishvari Pranidhana? The surrender to something bigger than ourselves, this devotion to a cause, to the universe at large, to what you deem divine.
I wanna be free, be me, be the only being that
And how about the practice of svadhyaya, this honest self-awareness?
with love and all. There is no high, no low, there's nowhere else to go except inside your heart.
Extend the exhale a little longer than the inhale here and focus on breathing into your stomach. I know it might be a little challenging because we're kind of compressing it in this pose, but we're going to stimulate the digestive organs as well. So we'll breathe into the belly for a count of 5, and then we'll breathe out through the nose for a count of 7, softening whatever you notice that you can soften with each exhalation. Try to pinpoint maybe something different each exhalation. So we're going to try 5 rounds of this. Empty this breath. Inhale into the belly, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, soften, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Into the belly, inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, soften something else, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5. Exhale, soften, 7. Inhale, 5. Exhale, 7. Last one, inhale, 5. Exhale, 7. Then allow your breath to ease long, both in and out through the nose, without straining to deepen the breath, but rather bring the quality of acceptance and allowing, just allowing your body to receive the fullness of the breath in and letting the breath completely empty without strain. And as you keep that going, perhaps there's a very subtle whispering sound happening at the back of the throat. Place your fingertips alongside your knees and inhale, lift your spine slowly upright. Let's take a pillow or rolled up blanket and place it along the midline of your mat, towards the front half of your mat like this. And then have a seat against the back edge of that pillow so that your right outer hip is flush against it. Extend both of your legs, both towards the left wall. Then slide your left leg towards the back of your mat, creating a L shape out of your legs. Plant your hands along the left and right sides of the pillow and turn your chest completely to face the front edge of your mat, adjusting your pelvis, legs, and feet as you might need to do that comfortably. Then stretching your chest forward, begin to lower your belly onto the pillow. If you find it's too low to lower onto, add another pillow or place a block or two stacked right underneath the edge of the pillow that's closest to the front of your mat to create an incline. Or add a blanket. You could even place a block underneath your forehead if you want to lie face down. So adjust the props so that you can completely lower your torso. You're not holding yourself up in this pose. You're really just letting your body be physically held. And then let's be here for the next 20 breaths. Start counting slow, even breaths. Let counting be a tool to steady your awareness in the present moment, as the mind often needs to have something to do. Take your time finishing your 20 counts of breaths. When you do, slowly begin to press your fingertips into the ground. Leave the props right where they are and gently start by lifting your head, then your chest, then your belly. And as you rise up, turn to face the back of your mat, straightening both legs out in front of you. Sitting tall, allow a few breaths here to just feel the aftermath of that twist on one side. Then keep your right leg where it is and slide your left leg towards the right wall, which is actually to your left side right now. Place your hands again along the left and right sides of the pillow and turn your chest completely to face the front of your mat, adjusting your pelvis, legs, and feet to comfortably do that. Start to lower slowly your belly, adjusting the props as you might need so that you can completely rest on the props and not have to contract any muscles or hold yourself up in this pose. And then begin counting 20 slow, even breaths through the nose. When you finish your 20 breaths, ease your way gradually up again, pressing the ground with your hands, lifting your head, chest, belly. And once more, come to sit with your legs out in front of you. Pause to observe the effects of that asana, now on both sides. And we'll begin to set up in frog pose. If you have any knee issues or frog pose may not be your pose for today, you can take the supine version, which I'll start showing you first. And that's almost like happy baby. You bend the knees at 90-degree angles, but you splay the thighs apart, making sure to keep your tailbone and shoulders on the ground, head on the ground or a low pillow. And you can rest your arms on top of your inner thighs to continue to open up inner thighs, outer hips. Now, the regular version of Mandukasana or frog pose, you may want to fold your mat. So you have your mat for one knee and you have a blanket for the other knee, so that if they want to slide apart and your inner thighs become more open throughout these 40 breaths in this pose, then they have the chance to do that. To set up, you place one knee on each mat or blanket, and you make sure you turn out your thighs from your hips. You're not just turning out your feet or your knees ever. And take a look at your knees and see that they're bent at 90 degrees. Your knees are in line with your hips. The hips are not forward or behind the knees. And your ankles are in line with the knees. The toes and the kneecaps are pointing out in the same degree. Then here, you might have the pillow or props in front of you. You simply breathe and start counting your 40 breaths. You might come down onto your forearms, you might not. Just see what's available. Here's that letting go of the ego, of expectation, of aversion, of fear, and putting your due effort and love and just being open to the outcome. You are in the traditional version of frog pose. Put a slight lift in your belly so that you can support your lower back and not feel strain in the lower back. Sense if the breath starts to shorten. Really focus on long, unstrained, even breaths. You might be just about halfway through the 40 breaths now. You're on your back, slide your hands to your outer thighs to slowly bring the knees together. Otherwise, start to slide your hips back towards your feet, bringing the inner edges of your feet to touch in child's pose. Pause where you are. Allow a few breaths. Just sense what's here now. What's shifting for you, if anything? As you continue to lengthen your breath without strain, start to make your way up to sit. And we're going to set up for Supta Virasana, opening up the fronts of our thighs. So you may need 2 blocks and or pillow and blanket. Start by sitting on your calves, pointing your toes back, and just notice how this feels, especially on your knees. If your knees are feeling uncomfortable, either grab a blanket, a folded blanket, and place the smooth side of it right up against the backs of your knees and see if that helps. Or you can sit on a block right between your ankles. Now, if sitting directly on your calves feels fine, then go ahead and sit on the ground and see how that feels right between your ankles, keeping your knees no wider apart than your hips distance. Then from here, you may want to either have a pillow behind you to catch you if you lie back. You could also stack or place 1 block tallest height for the back of your head, 2nd block medium height crossing the mat for right underneath your shoulder blades to lean on. And if you feel like that's way too far down, you could place a pillow on that, like a reclining chair. And then take a moment to hold the bottom part of your rib cage, like you're holding a big container. And then as you press your pelvis downward, lift your rib cage, lift the back ribs especially, and feel spaciousness, invite spaciousness in your lower spine. Lift your frontal hip bones slightly towards your lowest front ribs. And now see if it might be available to start to lean back. And if it's not, you stay right where you are. You can rest your hands on your lap if you're already feeling something opening up in the fronts of your thighs. Now, if you're leaning back, take it slowly and visualize your tailbone beginning to point down and forward towards the space between your knees. so that the further back your torso leans, the further forward the tailbone lengthens. And your frontal hip bones lift upwards towards your lowest front ribs. So find the point in which you can rest and begin counting 20 deep breaths. And some of you might not have anything underneath your body. That feels okay. There's no strain in the lower back. Try to keep your knees on the floor here. You could even put a weighted blanket on top of your thighs to encourage that. If you're leaning all the way back or you're resting on props, you might raise the arms overhead and catch hold of opposite bent elbows. Stretching into the sides of your torso and rib cage. Then halfway through, remember to switch the cross of your arms. Slow, easy, and even breaths. Take your time. When you are finished counting 20 breaths, take about 5 breaths at least to exit this posture and arrive sitting with both legs extended in front of you. Be gentle with transitioning out of this pose. You might even gently place your palms on your kneecaps and give them a little massage. Let's set up for one more posture before we lie to rest. Corpse pose, and that seated forward fold in which you extend your legs forward, feet hips width apart. You might choose to use a strap around the balls of your feet, this, or walk your hands down the backs of your legs, maybe clasp your big toes. And you might even find it useful to elevate your pelvis on a folded blanket if it feels like your back is rounding here. So you want to find the fullest length of the front and back of your spine. As if you have a flat back, roll the fronts of your shoulders back and down. Keep your throat open and your collarbones broad. And then put a slight engagement in your abdomen here to support the lengthening of your lower back. Plug your 2 hips down. Lightly engage the front muscles of your thighs by flexing your feet. Deep in breath from the base of your spine to your crown. And as you exhale from your hips, not from your neck, begin to hinge forward slowly. Pause as you breathe in. Press the pelvis down and stretch again, front and back of your spine. Roll the shoulders back and down. Keep the throat open. Then exhale, fold it a little bit more. And continue with that. See whatever's available for you as you practice Svadhyaya, honest self-awareness, for the next 5 breaths. And leading with your chest, breathe in to slowly rise up. Begin to set your body up in a comfortable position in which you can lie down and rest, being still for the next 5 minutes of Shavasana before we enter our guided meditation practice. Close your eyes. Allow your body to surrender all effort, even in receiving and releasing the breath. Tune into your physical body and notice what you feel right now. into your mind and your heart space. Sense what's present now. And as you listen to the cues of your body, ease into gentle movement, a simple stretch. And all the while, perhaps keeping your eyes closed, you might turn over to your right side so that in your own way, you begin to rise up and find a comfortable seat for meditation. Sit in a way that you feel open, upright, grounded, relaxed. You might bring your thumb and first finger to touch and place your palms face down by your knees. Or stack your palms with thumb tips touching, palms face up at the center of your lap. Then either keep your eyes closed or steady a soft gaze on one spot at eye level, just in front of you. Allow your breath to slowly and gently deepen again, without strain or force, more with a feeling tone of not hindering it, of completely accepting the breath. And then feel the exhale slowly empty from the body. Allow a few more breaths like that, lengthening the breath in, allowing the full emptiness of the breath. All without strain or force. As you finish this next round of lengthening the breath, release control of the breath again and sense your physical body. Soften the soles of your feet. Relax your palms. Soften your pelvic floor. Relax your tongue. Feel into both of your ears, both inside and out. Relax your ears. And then sensing your eyes, soften all the corners of your eyes, both inside and outside. Allow your whole being to rest in this state of receptivity. Today's meditation practice, I'll pose 3 questions of self-inquiry, in which I'll invite you to ask your inner being the question, and rather than conjuring up an answer, you simply allow space to listen, to observe whatever might surface through images, thoughts, nudges, physical sensations, or anything else. And whether or not a so-called answer appears during this time, keep that inward listening as you move throughout the rest of your evening and maybe even the next few days, because sometimes it takes a while to really be open to see what answers are coming up for you. So as we've talked about Kriya Yoga and the 3 components which must be in harmony in order for the practice of yoga and action to be effective and beneficial. The first question is, in the context of your daily life and personal practice, where are you able to take responsibility and put forth consistent effort? This is the practice of tapas. I'll repeat the question. In your daily life and personal practice, where are you able to take responsibility and put forth consistent effort? Let's allow a minute. The second question relates to the second practice, Svadhyaya. In the context of your daily life and personal practice, what helps you to see yourself and your actions clearly? In your daily life and personal practice, what helps you to see yourself and your actions clearly? Let's allow another minute. And the third question relates to the practice of Ishvara Pranidhana. In the context of your daily life and personal practice, what's the larger vision of life that helps you keep things in perspective? In your daily life and personal practice, what's the larger vision of life that helps you keep things in perspective? Another minute for that. And then I invite you to sit for one last minute without asking any more questions, but simply allowing open, loving awareness to observe what's in each present moment. Feeling the surface your body is sitting on. Imagine the next inhale starting at the base of your spine again. Slowly breathe in, filling all the way up to the top of your spine and your crown. And then through the lips, easing the breath out. How do you keep those three practices in balance, working together? Tapas, that fiery discipline, and Ishvari Pranidhana, a sense of devotion to a bigger picture. And Svadhyaya, that honest self-awareness. Let's close this practice, remembering your intention and to whom or what you dedicated this to. And let's take a deep inhale for one Om. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.